Because I feel like so many of us fall for it time and time again, and they're not so easy to identify. Hey everyone, so the idea for this video actually came out from the one that I did previously, and I was looking at behaviours or signs or how to know somebody is toxic. If you haven't watched that video, I'm going to link it up here, so after this video you can click onto that one that goes more into depth in identifying the signs of toxic behaviours. But there's certain behaviours that I really wanted to kind of identify in this video. Like, for example, love bombing, what playing the victim looks like, and what gaslighting look like. All of the behaviours that a narcissist does are toxic and they are there to destroy you. However, I think on these three separate behaviours that they do, I really wanted to kind of highlight this because I feel like so many of us fall for it time and time again, and they're not so easy to identify. So these are the warning signs that I'm kind of wanting to help you to look out for. So I'm going to give you scenarios. And hopefully within these scenarios, you'll be able to identify the certain behavior, the certain things where it is toxic and where it can possibly become quite manipulative. So I really want to look at what love bombing actually looks like. So for example, let's say you're on your first date. Your date hires a limousine to pick you up. I mean, oh my God, that sounds so lovely, but really, first date? So what they do is they take you to a 5-star restaurant. They surprise you with gifts and spend all night telling you how amazing you look. Yes, they do that. Do you know what? This reminds me actually of the Tinder swindler. I mean, what I'm doing is I'm giving you an example. Actually, I know this is quite a brazen kind of example, but let's break it down. Let's look at what's going on in this scenario. So the narcissist, what they're doing is they're love bombing. They're sending you, or they're showering you with all these gifts, with all these compliments, making you feel amazing. And actually, that's exactly what it's meant to do, is to make you feel amazing, to make you lower your guard or put your guard down so that you can then be easily manipulated. If you give something to someone, or if you give them, you make them feel good, you give them all this positivity, all right, your undivided attention, that person's going to like that. That's going to make the other person feel good. And that's indeed what the narcissist does, because they know that it's going to make their victim feel good. And that's why they do it, because you know what? The end goal is for you to be manipulated, for you to be gaslighted, manipulated, and ultimately controlled. Okay, so what does playing the victim look like? Okay, imagine that each time you call a loved one for help, she has a story ready to go. She can't show up because she's having a personal crisis, like a sprained ankle or a breakup or something's happened. But if she needs you, she may expect you to kind of drop everything and help. Or you might have a girlfriend that basically keeps calling you, and every time you're on the phone, all they ever do is talk about themselves. They talk about their issues, why their relationship is broken up, blah, blah, blah. So again, what's happening here is, it doesn't necessarily mean that that person has to be toxic, but they're playing the victim all the time. They're not able to help themselves or get the proper kind of help or advice or whatever that they need. So what they're doing is they're using your time, your expertise, your emotion, your kindness, and whenever you need them, they're just not there. And that's what I mean. They're very much using you. They're using you as someone that can help them, someone where they don't have to give anything, whereas you give more. So I think that's another kind of behavior. I know that we see it through many kind of relationships that we may have, maybe with family members, with friends, and possibly loved ones. just be aware that this isn't fair. This is like a violation of boundaries because they're not respecting you. They're not giving you that same kind of positive regard that you're giving them. And remember, it's give and take, 50-50. You meet in the middle, not over halfway and not less. That is what you need to be aware of. I think this is one of the kind of the biggest one, especially for us women, you know, where we have those friends that kind of just call every day, all the time, and just want your advice. I used to have friends like that. Okay, so the next one is what gaslighting looks like. Okay. An example might be that your gut instinct tells you that your boss is covering something up that you read in a report. But your boss may say, that never happened. Maybe you should see a therapist. I'm worried about you. So ultimately what gaslighting is that person is altering your perception of reality. You understand the perception of that situation one way, and that person is trying to change it because it helps to suit them. That's what gaslighting actually is, because in this example, the boss is covering something up, so they're covering a lie up, but they're saying to you that it never happened, but you know that it did because you've identified it, you've seen it. So they're trying to say that they're trying to change your way of seeing reality. So this is a really, really important thing to be aware of, especially in toxic relationships where this happens probably on a daily basis. You need to have your wits about you and kind of understand that this is something that they do because it helps with the manipulation and it helps to be able to control you, and so that narcissistic or that toxic person comes out on top. So guys, you just really need to be aware of this one. This manifests itself in many different ways, but ultimately, if you feel like you feel destabilized or the way that you see things isn't particularly in this way, I would say possibly you are being gaslighted. So just be aware of these types of behaviors. So guys, I know this was short and sweet. I wasn't really going to go into it, but I just wanted to give certain examples of just certain situations that actually you might find yourself in toxic scenarios going forward. I really hope that you don't. I really hope that you've got strong boundaries, because remember, that is what it's about. And just be aware. That's all I'm saying. Just have your awareness about you. If something feels wrong, then it probably is. And you really need to listen to that, because your gut is always going to save you. Your gut is always going to tell you the truth. So guys, thank you so much for watching. Also, if you are someone that would like to work through to someone who's experienced any of these behaviors, please do join the Journal Club. All of the details are in the description box below. Thank you so much for watching, and I will see you in the next video. Goodbye.